take you to the place where we read. In the book of 1 Samuel chapter 30, some of you may be very conversant about this place, but may I use this place to encourage you, to talk to you, to explain something that you do not understand. May I use this place to talk to you. Hear me. The Bible says that David and his men, meaning his army, his soldiers, went to war. Just as every one of you have you left your country, or we, every one of us, we left our countries to this country to find something better, to seek for greener pasture or pastures. Here we are in this country, and the enemy suddenly came and invaded our back, probably our family back home, or the loved ones, or invading us, or invaded us in this country while we are on the war front, seeking a way out, trying to change the statistics quo, and the enemy suddenly came and trying to manipulate our ways. This is what happened in the case of David. He was away with his men to fight for the freedom, for liberation, for protection of his surrendering, and while they went, because devil is a bastard. He knows how to mesmerize. He knows how to put shame. He knows how to sabotage the plans of God. He knows how to sabotage your own plans. He knows how to put bitterness into your plans. And the Bible says the enemy came and they invaded the south of Ziklag, Judea, meaning the country of David. And the enemy took everything in that country, and as if that was not enough, because that's another tactics of the enemy. The Bible says he put the country on fire. In other words, he burned down the entire city so that there won't be any trace, because there is one thing devil doesn't want. Devil does not want to be noticed. That is why they can be killing you in your house, they can be oppressing you in your house, they can be attacking you in your house, but they will never want you to know. They will never want you to know. Sometimes your enemy could be your housemaid, your family members, it could be your friend, but they don't want you to know. They will be oppressing you and plotting to bring you down without your knowledge. That is exactly what happened. He destroyed the entire nation so that there won't be any trace. And the Bible says, and David and his men, they came back to the village. They came back to the town. Behold, everything they worked for, behold, members of their family, behold, nothing left. Everything were taken, and the whole city were brought down. What could they do? And they began to cry, and they began to cry. Hear me, crying is not a solution in life, even though we cry as human beings, but crying can never bring solution. As they were crying, they began to point hand, they began to blame. That is human being for you. When we are in a deteriorating situation, we begin to look for someone to blame. We can never take responsibility of our actions, of what happened. We always want to blame somebody whenever something goes wrong, whenever something went wrong. We always want to blame someone. We always want to blame our spouses, blame our children, blame our friends, blame whoever that advised us into what prompting to that calamity. We will always blame. That is what happened here. They started after they cried, and they turned to David. They said, David, it is your fault. It is your fault. You say that you are king that fight always, king that looking for troubles, king that put us into this mess. Had we not followed you to go and fight, the enemy wouldn't have come to invade this country and took our wives, took our children, our cattle. It is because of you, David. And as they were crying, they picked a stone to stone David. If you could read all the content, and David said, excuse me folks, allow me to inquire of God. Somebody Somebody holler, inquire from God. Somebody shout, inquire from God. That means prayer. When you are in a deteriorating situation, when you are in a tough situation, when you are in a T-junction and do not know a path to follow, when you are in a cycled roundabout and do not know a path to follow, pray to God. Cry to God. David said, we have cried. I took all the blame, but it is time for us to seek for God. Allow me to ask God questions. Allow me to know what's prompting into this. Can I shock you? It doesn't matter the situation you are into. It doesn't matter what you are going through. Something prompted to that thing you are in. That ugly situation. Something prompted that. David said something is wrong here. Something prompted for this. But let me inquire of the Lord. There must be a trace for people that did this thing to our country, to our nation. There must be a trace for anyone that caused us all these calamities. There must be a trace. Spirit cannot do this. Spirit cannot do this. It must be from somebody. Can allow me to acquire from God. And the Bible says, and David prayed and acquired from God. And in his prayer, he asked God two questions. Can I pursue them? Shall I recover? And the Lord said, yes, pursue them and you shall surely recover. Hear me, folks. I am taking you to a little journey. And the Bible says, and David called his men and said, let us go. The Lord has given me a direction. The Lord has spoken to me. Hear me. When you go through problems, when you are in ugly situations, when you are challenged, when you are facing all kinds of attacks, have you cried unto God? Can you ask? Can you inquire of the Lord instead of blaming somebody, instead of blaming yourself? Hear me. Stop blaming yourself for all your problems. You do not, as if you do not know that there is a battle. There is a battle. That is why attack will always come. That is why you will always do mistakes. Stop blaming yourself when you make a mistake in your life. Always pray to God and move on. Stop asking God, why me? Why would this happen? Ask God, what should I do next? Can I recover from this situation? That is exactly what David did. And God said to him, yes. Yes, go after them. He said to all the army, let us go. And as that we are going, hear me. As they were in this journey, the Bible says they got to a place and they met Egyptian. Hey, destiny helper. They met an Egyptian. Hear me, folks, because this is our mistakes, especially those of you that are watching me by social media. This is a mistake. We always believe that our helper should be a Christian. This guy here is an Egyptian. He was not a Christian. He was not a Christian. Egyptians those days were idol worshippers. Before Islam came, he was an idol worshipper. He was not a Christian. And God planted that guy on the way of David, because it doesn't matter what you go through, God will always send your help on your way. He will always plant someone that will take you to the next level, that will show you road, that show you way of escape or way of prosperity. That is how God works. In the case of these guys, they got to a place, behold, they saw someone, an Egyptian. Now take